GW just gave us the first real look at the Orks points in our new Codex. And what that means is that we can finally start asking the dangerous questions on what's actually cheap, what's overpriced, what's breaking the meta, and what will cause all the gets in the community to cheer or cry. So today on WAAAGH Tactics, we're going to take a look at the points that GW has revealed. They're going to have their bat report on their app, and you can go check that out. They revealed some because they didn't reveal everybody. Like we don't know Gaz's points, for example. But those units we do have points for, we're gonna go over because it is quite juicy and interesting, and already has the community up in a commotion. So if you think that we're OP, you think these are fair points, let it be known. Of course, this is live, like everything that, well, most everything that we do. So of course you are heard, and let's get stuck in, lads, because I'm excited. I know right now all over the metal, some people are saying it's broken already at what they're looking at. And some people are saying it's actually quite fair. So we did get some significant increases in some ways, but ultimately, this is still not enough info to come to a conclusion. So all we're doing here is just having a good, nice, healthy conversation, start getting pointed in the right direction. After this video, we'll immediately go into another video as to all the ways you can get riled up to continue this conversation. And then I'll end up doing a hot take video very soon in a day or so. So make sure you guys stick around and leave a like so that we can keep giving these orc takes from the source, which is the Great Wall itself, which is in part all you gets watching right now and rewatch gang. So let's go on to some of these points. If you guys know the channel, you know me, you know these are actually some of my favorite, most often used units. And some of these are actually the newer ones. For example, we've already get to look at the Gunwagon. So if you don't know, the Gunwagon is a new sheet that GW has revealed. It's pretty much just the battle wagon, but it's actually with its weapons and it gets its own new data profile. So it gets 3 roll ones. It does have the transport capacity. It has some good weapons on top. Mostly the Zap one is the one that I like the most. And there are ways throughout the detachments that we've seen that you can buff transports, whether it's in melee or with their own shooting. And there's other units that are on these lists and enhancements that can make gun wagons even more interesting, like when we go over the riled up video, that you can give that a look to as well. But as for what it is for 150, so it's T12, and not, if you don't remember, the battle wagon is T11 now, and the battle wagon does not have armor of contempt anymore. Now it has -1 to damage at all times. So there is a difference in the durability stats here, a decent little break point. But most people would say that there's kind of a fair take on that, at least to start. Now, of course, we already can imagine it's going to be suffering from cover, for example. But there are minor ways, like I said, where there's an enhancement where you can throw a big mech in here and give it sustain and ignore cover. So if you really wanted to deck this gun wagon out, you could. As it is, it's pretty solid for a tank type profile that can also move units up the field. Um, uh, you guys let me know how you feel, though, how likely it is that you're going to put this on your list, because I know personally, looking at these points from what we've already been shown and what I'm presuming will happen with Gazgul, for example, is that uh, I have so many things I want to do, yet I start running out of actual points for the ability to do it. So make sure you guys, even though we all have great ideas, start putting that on the paper and you're like, wait a second. So, with that being said, Gunwagon, pretty exciting, and I will assume the Battle Wagon somewhere near it. I would actually hope that it's a little less than it, which would be like 140, which everybody for the most part found that pretty healthy of a points cost for it. Another funny take here, if all of us, I think we just call out the elephant in the room. Where's the Def Rollers? Right, we have all our battle wagons, and we're wondering where's our Def Rollers. So, that's at least for now my thoughts on it. It does have the wagon keyword, and we did see rolling blitz brigade. So if you like that detachment, and we can talk more about that, but I'm gonna mostly just focus on these point costs right now, and then at the end of the video we'll go over the super chats and the chats, and we can talk more about it if you think I missed anything. Another unit I want to talk about that most people are hyped about, I know I am, is the Big Mac Dakkarigs. So it actually went up 20 points. It picked up the character keyword, and most people are very, very focused on it because now it gets sustained when it's riled up, but it also has now acquired lethal built in, and it has ignore cover. Wow. wow. For a unit that was already used in duplicates, quite reliable for its universality and generalization and just shooting profile, it's nice for us to see. And the keyword allows, the character keyword allows it to now pick up enhancements, which we do see being used in this list. Now, before anybody asks the question, it does not have the leader keyword, just because I still see that around. It's not a leader keyword, so it's just picking up enhancements. Now, the enhancement that it has for Dreadherder is 20 points as of now. What it does is, if the Dakkarigs is within range of a walker, excluding another Dakkarig, then it can acquire Lone Op. Okay, so for me, it'll be around big units of Killa Kans, for example, where it can pick that up, has a big enough, tough enough profile that it can keep that going as well. But there's other ways to use it, like a cheeky hidden Def Dread, for example, right? But speaking of Def Dread, we see the. Oh, I'm not done with the Dakkarig, right? Dakkarig. Let me stay on that for a little bit longer. So if you didn't know, long story short, I use a Dakkarig at the end with the last of our last codex, current codex, whatever. And I've been using it. Been using it in Dreadmob, so I've been playing it with sustained and lethal already as it is in Dreadmob, and it's very very potent. So the fact that we now have that innately, and then we're actually getting a reroll ones capability with that, and then loan up, so I'm not actually getting jumped on first and shot right away, because it's quite a valuable piece, so I can keep it safer and it makes my deployments easier. I'm very much grateful just for this all around piece, but I don't have to pay for the Blitzboss. I'm just open to it. So you let me know what you guys think. Most people find this to be quite fair and still universal to be brought in a lot of different lists. Now, the Def Dread, right? One of the only things that people would maybe say isn't that good, I guess. The Def Dread did acquire -1 damage, but for its wounds counts and everything, and its speed and the potency of the game, as for now, it's just not seen that it's going to be brought too often in its current condition and point cost. But that's mostly just because we have so many other good options. So it's a good problem to have. So love for the Def Dread, but it's not really holding its place right now. But you know who is? The Killa Kans. Personally, this is a personal take of mine, though there's a lot of really good appealing lists and units and combos and da-da-da. I think Killa Kans are going to be quite solid to lean into right now. I do question that they can't reduce damage by 1 from damage 2. So I really did fall back on that a lot, but getting +1 and possibly being near gas and just acting as bulwark type units, or being able to push up the field, not requiring a leader, but possibly being able to be led by a leader, like maybe a mech, for example. We're not sure yet. But for 260, for going up a pip of toughness and having a diverse profile that they have now, I just kind of am interested in the Killa Kans profile. 260, maybe a little more than I was hoping, but I still find it to be all right. And you guys can let me know if you would do too. But I'm liking Dreadmob as a whole, but I don't remember. Sorry, I should have that up. I'll try to pull it up again. If the git that's using the Killa Kans, the big 6 of them, is using Def Dread. Okay, and someone saying maybe I'm a little sound quiet. What? No way. Mm-mm. I do not. No, I don't. I have everything. Audio. Oh shoot! Clicked the wrong thing. No, I got it. It's good. Sorry, guys. I wanted to make sure that it was still going because people were saying I'm quiet. I don't know what happened. Hopefully, it's working good. So moving on to the next piece is a 10-man unit of Nobz. So Nobz are one of those units that's on the fence, right? Um, that's on the fence because of where it's at right now. Where it ended at the end of last edition, not too many people were using them for 210. I kind of think because there's so many other good options for that damage, that kind of damage profile back in the day that you didn't have to lean into them. Them going up a wound but losing the -1 to wound is a bit of a an interesting take. Is it? Mm-hmm. Okay, the guy with the Death Dread is using Dread Mom. So the 10 knobs and the interesting take is that the damage profile that it has now, right? So if you take it with, in theory, the way I was thinking about it was if you take it with a big boss, because I'm assuming he'll be significantly cheaper than a war boss, you'll give them +1 to hit so that they'll at least be hitting on 2s now. The reason I really, really want them to be hitting on 2s is because since they lost an attack, I really need them to be accurate. Because in the past, best they could do was on 3s unless they had, enhancements. So I want them to be hitting on 2s, maybe with a big boss. And I'm interested maybe in 5-man units because I kind of want to take advantage of their actually innate ability of charging through enemy screens, possibly. But their war gear is kind of solid as well. The re-rolling guy, the rockets. So they're kind of like glass cannons, in my opinion, right? Where they come in, they crash into something, and they do damage. Likely going to be playing in Bully Boys because the detachment system, how it works, is things are quite specific. So say that you're running Nobz. In my head, off the top of my head, ideally, you're running them Green Tide, Bully Boys, and then maybe a big boss. So you're getting sustain, lethal on the charge, and then you're having the +1 to hit from that. In that case, when you're getting the maximum potential out of them, I still think they can find a place in the meta, but it is going to be quite an interesting take, as if people are really going to still use them uh, as well, because they might be even going up in base size. We don't know 100%. I'm pretty sure about that. Chat, if you guys know for that, let me know. If knobs are going up in base size, but 250 points, people are on the fence that that's a little bit too expensive. As in the people who think that is the Orc community. As for the general community, they're probably like, oh, that's fine. So then Tankbusters. Tankbusters are one of those things that people first initially looked at and they were like, oh, no, that sucks. We're back to 145. Let me just speak reason here. All right. We're still like, we don't know for sure, but we're still likely. Yes, knobs are on 40 now, but we don't know if the new kits are going to go up. So I guess you're right because that's the only kit out right now. They have to remain 40s. So good point. As I thought that out more. So it's not on 40s, but still, that's a big unit. So you guys let me know if we're going to use them. But as for Dankbusters, keep in mind, right now they have lethals because the Pulsar Rocket are ready. Okay. If you're, as most of you will be in like Wrecka crew, for example, you're going to get reroll 1s when you're on a terrain piece. Then you're going to have, ideally, a shock attack gun still. We would hope that they still have the shock attack gun. So then, if you look at the shock attack gun, when he's riled up and and then his leading the unit as well, he also gets ignore cover and then he gets sustain. So that means the tank busters, if they were innately being led by a shock attack gun, they'll very easily have access to lethal, sustain, ignore cover, reroll 1s with the shock attack gun leading them. So for 145 and their hunter profile, I think that's working. And then as for them going inside of a truck, the diversity of the firing deck and all of these orc infantry units having diverse profiles and go into infantry means that inside the truck now becomes an even more interesting profile for its universality of acting as like a mobile bunker tank. Keep in mind the tank busters can still do that sustain, lethal, ignore cover, reroll 1s, now into like anything because they're generally going to have access into shooting anything as their profile hit on 4s all the time now. So then they're going to hit on 5s, even into infantry. So tank busters just universally are quite killy. We don't know the shock attack gun profile cost, but for 145, being able to have that stacking combo often and everywhere on demand, if you really want to make easy synergy, is going to be potent. And the truck itself is quite potent. Now, this list doesn't have flash kits, for example, but the flash kits, being able to go inside of this, and let's say it was free Cult of Speed, and then now has Assault. I know that you can get from the riled up, but we're just speaking generally here. And you get riled up, and you have the flash kits in there, and the flash kits can use their multi profiles on someone within 9 now, or their anti-infantry profile, and shoot out of the firing deck for truck. And then there's actually stratagems that we have access to that we've seen that allow you to shoot better with your firing tech. So you can get +1 to hit from the hat. You can have access to a baby mech. Not sure how it's going to get on the field yet because it is targeted as support by the enhancements, but I mean by its keywords, but so yeah. What people were saying my sound. Don't. All right. We'll see. All right. So the trucks for 60 points. That's quite cheap. Um, I think that's a point that people might later contest with, but right now it's pretty solid. It as for what we could do. Um, as for the truck, goes with their new plan to sell the kit, I guess, for example. So the truck has a lot of play, mostly because people want to use it as a mobile bunker. But I think the battle wagon is going to have way more interest in people to play that mobile bunker role. At least they're going to attempt it, just because that's kind of the battle wagon's only alternative now. Like before, it kind of fight kind of good and it was durable and it shot a little bit. Now it has very little guns and DACA and is T11. So it's like, man, maybe the battle wagon will act more as a firing kind of profile alongside this truck. So it's not on the list right here, but just speaking of, it made me think they're going to play similar roles. Deffkoptas. So a lot of people are interested in Flyergs, for example, right now. And the Deffkoptas go with the flyboy detachment, and there's ways that you can stack this +1 to hit. That way you can offset falling down from you can offset cover if you come up from deep strike. 80 points is still pretty solid for the fact that we just don't have a lot of deep strike. We don't have a lot of fly keyword. They're a little bit more capable with their shooting than before. And Cult of Speed itself is looking quite strong. That's the one thing that looking at this entire list we can take away from is the Cult of Speed keyworded units are quite cheap. That means if Gaz and our other heavy hitting units that we want to fall back on, rely on more for the punching power, we can use, two, if they're 1 DP, disposition points, 1 or 2 disposition points for that, for those units, and then you can maybe have access to Cult of Speed and these Speed Freak units for 1 DP and get the most out of them. So that's also why this is very appealing for most people. I'm moving my stuff, guys. Well, all right. I plugged it back in, so you can see me do it live, just in case that was a thing. You're still working. All right, so we'll move on to the war bosses. Now, I'm a little double-minded on the war bosses right now. Now, I love war bosses. I still think they're pretty awesome how they are. Crazy volume they can have access to. They're going to be very important to people. 100 points is quite a bit of points. So you're not going to be spamming them. You're definitely not. And GW's trying to make them more centered, kind of focused. I would like more things that can contest with uh, um, epic characters. So the fact that they're making stuff like the war bosses better and giving them access to stuff that's better, like the big boss making them stronger and enhancements, a whole detachment about war bosses is somewhat appealing. So speaking of, he has the Blitzboss enhancement. War boss models only a transport unit that has this model within it gets +2 movement and then a 5-up invuln save. So based off, I'm not sure which list it's going in, but if he puts this in a truck or a gun wagon, for example, it automatically gets an invuln and then it moves faster. So that's a cool way to have your transport that you're trying to use safely move around the battlefield for that war boss, getting that enhancement for the blitz boss. And that's what's cool about this disposition or this detachment kind of breakdown as well is brute boss. You kind of automatically assume it's very specific to killing or maybe like really specific to bully boy buffing, but blitz boss is very clearly like a vehicle transport supporting one, so it's quite universal. I like that. It was well thought out, so I'm enjoying it. 20 points is a bit much, in my opinion, but not bad. Then we move to the 2 war buggies. So war buggies ×2, because now you can take buggies and you can put 2 models in them in 1 unit, so you can play up to 6 in 1 game. That's a good points cost. That's roughly 65 per model. We don't know if it'll be that way because maybe you take one, it goes up to 70, for example, or something like that. But the war buggies, I think are gonna have quite interesting play throughout the entire edition if they stay low. It really is kind of a meta, timing kind of call tech piece unit where just having one of these and going into those right matchups where flamers are quite potent, overwatches are still quite interesting to people, stuff like that. I know it doesn't work on vehicles and monsters, but there's so many still interesting things in matchups that you could use them on, like salamanders automatically forget you. I don't want that. There's those fun little Necron characters. Let's say you're playing like a league or building up a league or playing in a social campaign or what at a store or whatever, right? It's like you can start with that and say they have that little Necron character that shoots Overwatch when you get within range of him, for example, right? You just turn that guy off automatically as well. So I think that these guys are going to be quite awesome. I'm very disappointed in losing my buggies, though. I'm a big fan. I own roughly 10 buggies or 8 buggies or something like that. So a bunch, more than I can play in this case. But we did keep the squig, so I guess I have that. So maybe like 7 that I have to cycle. So if you're going to have a buggy, you get one. I think it's pretty nice. I think you can definitely find ways to incorporate it into your army, even though I am quite disappointed. Another unit that I'm surprised that I'm considering incorporating into my army is the War Track. So the War Track being at 70 points is a bit much. It is. Look at me. It is. I know. I'm with you. But the buff it gets for when it shoots at an enemy unit and gets lethal from all speed free units into that is quite amazing when we look at the next unit we're going to look at, like the War Bikers, for example. But that's really, really cool as a buff because Trukks, Speed Freak, Deffkoptas, Speed Freak, Warbikers, Speed Freak. So all those units, when they're getting targeted after the war buggy shoots a enemy unit, that enemy unit becomes like, I don't know, buggy tainted. I don't know, war track tainted. I'll find it right here. I should have had it up already. Sorry, but it gives everything lethal that targets that. So immediately gives the potential to spike damage for all of those speed freak units. Damage by association is a lot of how the orc's gonna work now, where you're gonna have a bunch of different units that are just targeting stuff and chipping them down and killing them over multiple activations with double both phases of the game, which is a good thing. I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing that you can you could play some of those things and everybody has a little bit to say. Where's a stupid war track? I'm surprised I don't have it on. Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah. Speed freak lethal. Okay. A little blurry. I was trying to get more clarity. Either way, War Track 70 points for its potential to get that. Yeah, and Dakkarigs has Speed Freaks, so some of the flyers. So that has great, great synergy. And then it can be loan up if it's near these Speed Freak units that it wants to buff. So then that means WAAAGH, right? So WAAAGH near a War Track. Boom, you're just getting double loan out, feeding off each other. You can have buggies, you can have the trikes, all this different stuff. Very exciting to see War Tracks having a very, very clean and positive buff and benefit. So then we move on to the War Bikers. 140 points for 6. They got the new upgraded knob, the new weapon on him. He now doesn't have a power claw. He's a strength 5 weapon, but it's still 2 damage. And then they have their new buff that they're damage 3, plus 1 damage on the charge. So that means the knob will be damage 3, and then the basic bikers will be damage 2. And they get plus 1 strength as well, just so people know. Make sure I don't forget to say it. People punch me. So with that being said, you put a trike on this unit. That means the trike boss, right, who can also give them riled up, is going to be getting the passive buff from this ability. One thing I'll say is in this codex, we do not have a substantial amount of great buffs coming from the infantry units or the units into the characters. There are some good ones like the boys, or when I said, or the Tankbuster with the sag, stuff like that. But just saying. Bare bones, that's a great passive buff to be able to give someone else plus 1 damage and strength. Boom. And the trike did go down a strength. The trike went to strength 7. So Warbikers getting it to 8 and then to damage 3. Amazing breakpoints, right? One-shotting Blade Guard veteran, wounding them on 2s. Love to see that. And then, like I already said, Ward Track, you give them lethals. So those are great combos and stuff that you can look out for in this detachment. Keep in mind, if you're playing Cult of Speed, you have access to sustain, stuff like that. So a lot of cool combinations, and the War Bikers are looking really, really appealing. Playing them on mass, whether you're playing MSU or a bunch of big bricks, great way that we can see stacking combos on top of them as good opening pieces, skirmishing pieces, and then we back up our proper wall and maybe end game alongside something like a late game WAAAGH. So very exciting. Certainly, last but not least, well, actually, yeah, the least, we got the Gretchin. So from what we see, Gretchin are 80 points for 20, 10 for 45, which is what they're at currently. That's pretty good that we're still staying there. And then the Run Herder himself is 10 points. So there's contesting points about if the Run Herder should be brought. I'm still on the this guy is playing conniving runts. So for the runt shields, appealing. There's somewhat appeal in like maybe the reduction in detection range, the reactive move on Gretchin, all somewhat appealing stuff here. If you really need more action pieces because stuff's went up in points, I can see Gretchin being used. But there are some people that are already like, you know what, maybe I'm only going to bring one Grot from my home field unit. So you let me know how you feel about Gretchin. Are you just kind of going to bring one for your home, or are you going to really tech into conniving runs and try to get the most out of Grots? Or even outside of that detachment, will you bring them? So the Run Herder is one of those things where I'm paying more points for what's supposed to be a trash unit. It's like someone investing more in like a cultist, right? Well, would you? Maybe, maybe not. So you let me know. I'm open to it. I'm open to maybe some games, but definitely not going to spam them or anything. So that's it for those point units. I'll go over the super chat, the live chats, and everything everybody has to say right now if I missed anything. So of course, hot taking units here. Dakkarigs. I still think he's going to get a lot of play. Probably not going to throw up to the third, but I was ready just playing with 2 anyway, so pretty sweet. War Track ended up coming out amazing on this in most ways just because of its buffs and then it's staying under 80 points. Quite solid. All of the speed freak units are very appealing. And then the Killa Kans, just a little bit more than they used to be. But they still have interesting play, in my opinion, that I'm at least going to give them a shot. All right. So with that being said, that's it for the points. But now let's go over the super chats and anything else that I maybe missed. We got Lungrung for 7 months going. It's going, whoa, for real. 3-hour stream, kill my mans. Yeah, dude, that one took me out. I mean, shout out, I know Tactical Tortoise did a stream like a similar long stream like that, and he was feeling it too. And he does long streams all the time, and he does streams at tournaments, so he got that durability. So I feel a little bit better knowing that we both were trying to hang. Shout out to Tactical Tortoise though. Hopefully he feels better. And then we have super chats. We actually, wow, a lot of super chats. Very generous. We have SSEX for $15. I think that's $15. Thanks for all you do. You the biggest and baddest boss. Whoa! Show your love you gets with some teeth. Thank you for the teeth, man. That's how I'm gonna get me some Nazareth, and I might need to get me a new flyer. Right? I'll just say this right now. I like how much commotion. First of all, thank you very much. That's very generous and very kind words. It does mean a lot. So thank you and all the guys that are here. But also, you reminded me, because the teeth thing, that people are looking at these flyers. The WAAAGH Boom Blaster is getting a looks at. If you want my opinion, WAAAGH Boom Blaster around 250 points, at least somewhere starting around there, and you're going to look up or down variations. It has been used in the past. It's always about 100 points more than its counterpart flyers. All right. So just saying in that way, I like that that it's getting a lot of attention, and then the burner mount is getting a lot of attention because of the ignore cover potential. Jet's getting some looks as well because of, like we said, the speed freaks, the amount of shots it can put on the enemies, and the detachment itself is not that bad. So thank you very much, and I'm pretty pumped up in a lot of different ways. And someone else who's keeping us pumped up is the bad dog is keep calm and war on. So thank you very much with the huge, gigantic $100 super chat. If I was the biggest boss with the biggest mech, I would have a soundboard, but I do not have one as of yet. But if I did, it would have a magnificent wall for you right there. So thank you very much for that. It keeps us alive. It keeps the wall going. It means I can actually get the new characters. So thanks. I get the new boss. So yeah, and very exciting stuff that we have in the future for the Great Wall as a whole. And the after action report. Remember, right after this, we're moving over to all the ways to get riled up right after this video. So thank you very much, Bad Dog. That'll keep the momentum for the next wall, which is roughly 10 minutes, starting 10 minutes after this stream. So thank you very much for that. Now, Rewatch Gang, too. Rewatch Gang gets to see all that. I love Rewatch Gang. They go hard. And we got my boy Flynn for $5 super chat, hyped that the detachments are one DP. See, I think you meant DP each. We don't know that absolutely for sure. And of course, GW will start that way. And then as stuff plays out, these are the levers of power for balance that GW can activate to without just going straight crazy with points. So if things start going too hard, like Green Tide or the Beast Snagga Boys or something like that, that those detachments are too strong for some reason, quote unquote, they can make that too. And then if War Horde is too weak, which in my opinion it is for 3, in my opinion, for 3 DP, that's a little, it's not that good, in my opinion. But say they decide, okay, War Horde's a little too weak for 3 DP, but instead of making it stronger, we'll drop it down to 2. These are the cool levers of power GW can activate. So thank you very much for that. And also, yeah, like chat saying, Warcom is not known for being accurate, right? And the lists aren't known to be synergistic and competitive or anything like that. So this is simply an evaluation of the points with the context of the detachment and rules that we have as of now, right? But it's a lot to look at, and there's a lot of people that are already wondering. So this video will be great for the Rewatch Gang and everybody that's wondering about the Great Wall. But remember, keep calm and wall on. We have Friendly Neighborhood Canuck, 9-member month. Thank you very much. He said Runt Herder plus Dread Mob plus Mad Mech Stomping Ord. Man, you're a proper Big Mac, dude. You revealed your hand. That's a very Mech Lord style of development you have there and selection choice for detachments. So great job in that. I find it exciting, and I'm always here for some Big Mac love. So that being said, there's only one thing to keep in mind, is that we have a stream right after this. Don't cross our wall, because we'll knock your teeth out. Whoa!